Us in the comment section of our live streams on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter.
Yeah, this is all about staying informed and connected together, so make sure you log into one of those interfaces and chat with us a little bit. Big story, of course, we're talking about Tropical Storm Sally. Lots of rain headed our way.
Right, and that storm is still inching across the south. It made landfall as a hurricane along the Gulf Coast earlier today. Surge and historic flooding for the region.
My wife was just crying because she never seen this before too, and my kids were scared, and I told them it was gonna be okay, but we're gonna try survive this. We're gonna try go through this.
Well, wind is also a big issue. Check out the damage that Sally left behind as it moved over Alabama. 100-mile-per-hour winds ripped apart this mobile home. Officials there say it will take some time to really see the extent of the damage.
You know, by the time this storm reaches us, we're really concerned about rain. We have lots of it heading in our direction. Meteorologist Tim Buckley been following this, and Tim, it just every time we run these models and take a look at it, it looks like it just inches those rain totals up a little bit each time.
Yeah, Eric, and the concern partly is, well, we have the cold front that's going to be here as well as the tropical system. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for us. Here's the latest on Sally. It is moving inland now. Notice most of the rain on the northern and eastern side of the system. Winds have decreased to 70 miles per hour now, which is why it is considered a tropical storm. Here's what I mean. There's the tropical storm. Here is a cold front. And sometimes when these systems interact, it can enhance the rainfall totals. So for us, as the cold front gets closer, so too will Sally be. This is tomorrow, right around this time. So I expect for us, you wake up to some scattered showers and rainfall, but the afternoon into the evening and the overnight, basically from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., that's when the rain really means business. And we're likely to see several inches, which will lead to some flooding. On the backside, cool, refreshing fall air arrives for that weekend. It's a big deal cold front, and so is the rain. Check out these forecast totals from the National Weather Service, expecting between 3 and 6 inches of rainfall. That's basically from the Triad to the southern Piedmont. Farther north and west, a little bit of the drier side of the system, closer to 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. I've put together a graphic here. It might look a little confusing, but it highlights the different threats and the different times for our area. If you look, I think the biggest threat for flash flooding for us will be between 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. and then by Friday morning, things are starting to improve as the system pulls away from our area. In fact, by Friday afternoon, we should start to see the sunshine. One more thing that we'll be tracking for you in the southern Piedmont especially, typically tropical systems have at least a low tornado risk. This one is no different. We'll be monitoring the radar for you, especially places like Randolph and Montgomery counties. Tell you what, the weekend, get the coats, the sweaters, all that stuff. Lows in the 40s are possible.
All right, well, health leaders with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, they want you to prepare for severe weather, of course, especially during a pandemic. It's kind of the worst case scenario here. So whether it's due to flooding or a pandemic, you have to know where you can stay if you have to leave your home, which can happen. Health experts say shelters should be avoided for the most part if possible, just because of the large number of people that can show up all at once. Instead, you might want to talk with friends or family members that you would trust to stay with, or they say look at nearby hotels as well. Remember, you can stay up to date with the latest weather conditions all the time. Just check out WFMYnews2.com or download the free News 2 app.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Winston-Salem police are still working to figure out why a man crashed a car earlier this morning, causing it to burst into flames. Investigators say 61-year-old Brian Colson was driving down Broad Street when he crashed into a utility pole and another parked car near the Piedmont Music Center. The car then caught on fire. First responders say when they got the flames out, Colson was pronounced dead. His cause of death and the crash are still under investigation.
This face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
The head of the CDC testified before a Senate committee and urged everyone to wear a mask if we want to get the pandemic under control. He also gave an update on vaccines and said they will be widespread sometime next year. He predicted we could return to normal life sometime in late 2021. Big Ten football is back. After initially canceling the conference season, school officials say it'll pick back up in October. In the meantime, players will be tested daily starting at the end of September to get ready. Games will resume the weekend of October 23rd, and each team will play 8 games. Big Ten conference leaders say they will announce plans for other fall sports soon. The Carolina Classic Fair will go on this year, but not like in years past, with hundreds of people packing in to enjoy the rides and fair food. Instead, a drive-through event is now planned. You'll be able to drive through the fairgrounds and order your favorite treats, which will be brought up to your car. The new drive-in movie theater at the fairgrounds will also show family favorites each night and set off fireworks. The fair will happen from October 1st through October 4th.
We all know teachers do not get enough recognition for everything that they do, but one Guilford County teacher was just honored for all of her work both in and outside of the classroom. Oak Hill Elementary School 4th grade teacher Ebony Jones was named GCS Teacher of the Year. She received the honor for her dedication to teaching English and language arts. Jones is also a big advocate for new teachers and students with disabilities, work that led to this recognition. This morning, Jones stopped by the Good Morning Show to talk about her teaching philosophy. She says she has one simple idea that she hopes her students learn as they leave her classroom.
I want them to know that it's great to treat other people with kindness, treat people with respect, honor those differences that we all have, because there's always some commonalities. So when they leave me, just remember to be a good human being.
Oh, I love that. Jones will now represent the district in the regional round of the statewide Teacher of the Year nomination process. I mean, that's the most important thing. Standardized testing, you know, you have to teach it, they have to pass it, but really if they learn to be a good human, Eric, I think she has the right idea.
I've always said that, you know, it's like good people usually are taken care of. You know, people recognize that character that they have. And some people just aren't, let's be honest, some people aren't good at standardized tests. You know, they may not do as well as someone else, but their day-to-day work ethic and what they do and what they accomplish is good. So I like the fact that actually some colleges are turning the volume down on the standardized testing and really going more with the essay. And it sounds like she recognizes that. Plus, love that she worked with students with disabilities. That's so important to her. That's a great thing.
And I know for me, and I'm sure it's the same for you and for everyone watching, Eric, we learned so much more from our teachers than just English and language arts, which is what Jones teaches. I mean, we learned life values, we learned life lessons. So I'm glad that they really highlighted that in this Teacher of the Year recognition process.
Yeah, it's good. And I hope that stays as one of the criteria for a while, you know, that they look at that character of the teacher and put that just as important as what their grade and success ratio is.
Yeah, and teachers working overtime right now to make sure all of the kids on virtual learning are learning something this school year.
Hey, and speaking of kids and GCS teachers, GCS students could be face-to-face with their teachers again by the end of this month, maybe. We know you have questions about that possible move into Plan B with both in-person and online learning. So we are going to be taking your questions directly to Guilford County Schools leaders tonight at 5:30. All you have to do is text them to us right now at this number, 336-379-5775. Again, text, don't call, and we'll get to your questions starting at 5:30.
Christmas bells in December. Your ears are not deceiving you. Coming up, why the Salvation Army's traditional holiday kettlebell fundraiser will start earlier than ever. That's next when the 4 to 5 returns. Welcome back. It is only mid-September, but the Salvation Army is already thinking about Christmas. It is one of their most important seasons for fundraising, and because of the pandemic, their Red Kettle campaign is already underway. You're likely not used to hearing the bells of the Salvation Army in September, and maybe you aren't ready to hear them just yet.
We are, for the first time ever, really looking at Christmas launching early.
The challenges of COVID-19 are starting the Salvation Army's most important fundraising season weeks ahead of schedule. While shoppers usually don't see their iconic red kettles out until mid-November, Major Andrew Wiley says the jumpstart is necessary with the inevitable changes coming to the holiday.
With less foot traffic and many people shopping from home, we've been doing that so long we've gotten used to it. And so it does raise some concern for us about what our kettle season is going to look like.
It's not clear whether or not bell ringers will be able to station outside of shop doors during the pandemic. So the Salvation Army is doing what they can to save Christmas with a push for online donations, monthly contributions, and even a Red Kettle Challenge. People can pick up a kettle and safely collect donations from friends and family through October.
The need is really great this year, and we are anticipating across the country a potential 50% less income in kettles.
Major Wiley says the Winston-Salem Salvation Army sees the need for help in our community, and he anticipates it will only grow. They've been able to make changes to safely operate food giveaways, the Boys and Girls Clubs as virtual learning sites, and their family shelter. But all of that takes money that they're worried they won't have.
The reality is we have a lot of children and families who depend on us, not just during Christmas, but throughout the year. And so these funds are crucial.
Well, the Salvation Army is still working with stores to come up with a plan for having those kettles out front. And if they are able to have bell ringers this year, Major Wiley tells me all of their volunteers will wear masks and keep safety top of mind. But that Christmas season, it will be here before we know it. This is beautiful to me. Only 100 days out until Christmas. And if you watched the show yesterday during My 2 Cents, I revealed I'm already listening to Christmas music, and I am not ashamed of my holiday cheer, but that post got a lot of comments on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. Let's take a look at what you're saying. Wanda says no, exclamation point. She's not ready for that. Laureen said yes, she started listening to Christmas music about a month ago. It lifts your spirit, which we all need right now, and that is all I'm trying to say, Laureen. Thank you. Caitlin says if my husband would let me, I would. I'm sorry, Caitlin. You can come over and listen with me. Phyllis said, I have a lighted tree on now. She is way ahead of the game. I know Tahitian Moise will appreciate that. Dee writes in, the Philippines Christmas songs are played beginning September 1st. That's interesting. And Marcia says, no, I'm not listening to them yet, but I am singing them. LOL. Okay. The reason I was listening to Christmas music, guys, if you missed it, is because I just needed some cheer. And I thrive during the holiday season, and that just makes me happy to turn on Darlene Love or Walking in a Winter Wonderland, whatever you may want to listen to. Chilton, what you think about this?
So for me, I don't want to listen to it, but it's not because I don't want to hear Christmas music yet. It's because I don't want to get tired of it too early. I like it, right at Thanksgiving. As soon as Thanksgiving's over with, I go right into it full steam because I don't want to get to the point to where when I hear them on the radio, I go, oh, I've had enough for a while. So I got to keep it special.
I think especially this year, we have a little bit of an excuse. So Tahisha, you're my spirited sister. I know you. You're putting the tree up on Halloween.
Well, actually, last year I put it up on October 13th. So let's see if I beat my record of putting it up this year. Now, here's what I will say. Mariah Carey, if you are listening, there has never been a year when people need new Christmas music from you than 2020. So please, I love the 90s album, but please make us another one. That'll just make my 2020 year.
But I think Mariah Carey hibernates until Thanksgiving, and then she wakes up for the Christmas season.
That's right.
So she may not have heard that. You might have to get in touch with her people.
Let me call her people because I have them, right here on speed dial. So I'll be right back.
If she's watching the 4 to 5, then
we've made it.
We need to find out. We got to find that out. All right, let's talk about this because we got something cool coming up after the break. If you're a fan of Guilford College's Bryan series, you may be wondering how the pandemic may have changed things for them. We're going straight to the source so you won't miss a beat as the 4 to 5 continues. You know, when it comes to speaker series, it's really tough to beat this one. Of course, we're talking about Guilford College's Bryan series. They always bring in huge star power. Now, usually we line up in droves to see these speakers that we rarely, or maybe it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get to see anywhere. But back in March, the pandemic changed all that. Today, I spoke with Guilford College's Ty Buckner about how he says this series is still going on, but in a different way. Take a look. Ty, thanks for taking time out today. This is exciting because, you know, in this climate, people are not quite sure what was going to happen to the Bryan series, but you guys are back. It just looks a little bit different this go around.
Eric, it's a pleasure to be able to talk about Guilford College Bryan series, and you're right. This pandemic has not had a lot good about it, but one of the things that it has allowed us to do is be really creative about how we deliver this programming that people have enjoyed in Greensboro and the surrounding community for many years. And so this fall, we're going to be delivering 3 programs online starting on Thursday evening. And we are excited about that. We think it's going to be a welcome opportunity for our subscribers and others who have enjoyed these programs as a bridge in a way to our opportunity to be in person again in the future.
Now, as we move into the future, and I know kind of the flagship event, a lot of folks have been talking about Sally Field. You're hoping to go back to, would it be the Tanger Center after the first of the year, assuming that things work that way?
We're still in discussions and considerations about whether we'll be able to do in-person events. And we've let all of our Bryan series folks know that they're going to be able to access every program online if we can't be in person. So still some decisions to be made, but we do want to get to the Tanger Center. We want to get there in the worst way, but we do have Sally is a holdover from last season, a great author, Colson Whitehead, as well, held over from last season, and then 3 new events. Those are all the programs that we hope to present in Tanger in the spring, but if not, they'll be online.
You guys always deliver. It's really great stuff you do for the Triad. Some names that I think most of us would never see if it weren't for you guys. So thanks for your information, and we'll be watching, Ty. So if you'd like a subscription to the Brian Series season, they are still available. We've got their website and where you can do that through ours. Just check out this story on WFMYnews2.com. Well, we're going to have to cue up the Eurythmics song from the 80s, Here Comes the Rain again, because we're seeing a lot of it starting to overspread the area. Not so much right now over our area, but look at this wide shot of the radar. That is a lot of rain. And when you're talking tropical moisture, that's heavier rains than what we would normally see, even in some heavy summer thunderstorms. So, Sally, as you can see, that system becomes a low pressure. Really, it's just an area of rain. But you add to that the cold front that's moving through, and this could spell trouble for us from a flooding standpoint more than anything else. It will clear us maybe Friday morning to midday. We'll see some cloud cover, but much cooler, drier air will start to move in. But Thursday afternoon into the overnight hours of Friday, that's the time period. It's basically a 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. kind of scenario. If you look at the impacts here, you see the orange under flash flood. That's really the stronger impact. There is a low tornado threat in the southern Piedmont, but again, really, we're dealing with more of a rain situation. Heavy tropical rain from Thursday at 2 p.m. to Friday at 2 a.m. We could see as much as 3 to 6 inches of rain across the Piedmont. Flooding is likely in areas, especially flood-prone areas. Again, we'll clear out for the weekend. We actually could see much cooler air and a chance of overnight lows in the 40s. We'll talk about our 7-day forecast coming up.
Tonight, country music is back on WFMY with the 55th Academy of Country Music Awards. And tonight you can catch all the action right here. The event will be split across the first time the Music City has hosted the event. Keith Urban will host the show and perform.
Because we were supposed to do this in Vegas in April, and when that didn't happen, I don't think anybody was sure what we were going to do, what the next step was. Never in my wildest dreams thought it would move its way to Nashville, but I'm thrilled that it has.
A big performance making headlines. Taylor Swift, the artist who got her start as a country musician, will sing the song Betty off her album Folklore. It's the first time in 7 years she will perform on a stage at a country music event. And I know a lot of her fans, Maddie, what do they call them? Swifties? Swifties, I think it is. Yes, they will be pleased to see her on stage again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first live performance off of her new album, Folklore, as well. A lot of people wondering, isn't she more of a pop star, or even with this latest album, an alternative musician now? But the song Betty actually has a banjo in it. So I think that's classifying her as country enough to perform at the ACMs. I'm excited to see a live performance from Taylor Swift.
Well, that's great. I'm one of those people that it took me a while to come around to the fact that I enjoy a few of her songs. I was one of those people when she started out doing country, and I'm not the biggest fan. I don't want to listen to Taylor. And then her songs started getting a little more poppy, and then I started getting into it a little more. So you know what? I enjoy Taylor Swift. It's out there on record.
It's a good contrast because, you know, I've been to all of her tours except one. All right, let us know what you think. Are you watching the ACMs tonight? Who do you hope to see perform? Use that hashtag 4 to 5, and we'll be right back.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton alongside Maddie Gardner and Tahisha Moy. Maddie in the studio, Tahisha broadcasting at home like I am.
Yeah, so we are here to inform you and, of course, make you feel connected. Also, we're letting you into our world and digging into the big stories. And today, the big
All right, let's talk about our forecast and see what's happening here. Try to get some tech issues settled here. We've been mentioning rain, and boy, do we mean heavier showers across the area. When you talk about rainfall totals and what we expect, here's what we're tracking here, this heavy tropical rain. And when we say that, that is heavier than regular thunderstorm rain. Even at its heaviest, when we see those summer thunderstorms, rarely do we get this type of heavy rain activity. But with a tropical system, it is indeed possible and likely in this case. It could start Thursday afternoon. We're saying that 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. time period from Thursday afternoon to Friday morning technically, but overnight, Thursday night, that's when we could see the heaviest rain. Flooding is likely, definitely in flood-prone areas, but this could stretch into other areas as well. And you're looking at a possibility in the Piedmont of 3 to 6 inches of rain before this system moves over us. And it is the remnants of Sally as that pushes across our area tomorrow, and actually into Friday morning. The southern Piedmont may be a slight tornado risk there. We're not talking about a huge issue, at least at this point, but it is something that we'll have to watch. When you look at our severe thunderstorm risk, it's really down towards southern parts of Davidson, Randolph, and Montgomery counties where we run that risk. And this is kind of a northwest to southeast situation when you look at the rain totals. If you're in the, say, Surrey, Stokes, Allegheny, Ash, Watauga area, it's more of a 1 to 3 inch rain possibility. That's the lighter parts. But over the heart of the Triad, the majority of the viewing area is in that 3 to 6. And you have to go east of Fayetteville down toward Robbins and that area to get that 2 to 4 inch total. So we will see flooding. Again, this will be Thursday night into Friday morning. We'll be here manning the ship and let you guys know exactly what's going on. Make sure you download our free app so you can get all the information you need.
Another big worry with Tropical Storm Sally is the wind. Now, the south took the brunt of it when Sally made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane earlier today. So I want you to take a look at some video out near Mobile Bay, Alabama. The wind gusts were so strong along Interstate 10, a semi-truck flipped over. Luckily, the driver was okay and only had a few cuts and bruises. And then take a look at the wind damage in this Alabama park. Dozens of huge trees were ripped up from the roots by the storm. Remember, you can stay up to date with the latest weather conditions at all times. All you have to do is head over to WFMYnews2.com or download the free News 2 app.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. Some students in the Rockingham County School District will head back to class next week. It's the latest Triad district to move forward into Plan B. That's a mix of in-person and remote learning. School staff are already there getting the buildings ready and putting up signs and markers to encourage social distancing and mask wearing. Students will go back on Monday. Air quality is now a big concern along the West Coast, where wildfires are still burning largely untamed. Take a look at the smoky haze. This is in Seattle today. In Oregon, the smoke is just as bad, and health officials say right now 1 in 10 visits to the ER is because of breathing issues linked to that smoke. People along the West Coast are being asked to stay inside as much as possible. Election officials handed out 1,000 masks to Forsyth County poll workers. The group Project Mask helped secure all of that PPE. Election officials everywhere stress the need for extra protection for poll workers ahead of the November election. And a new and cheaper Apple Watch will soon go on sale. Apple introduced a new watch on Tuesday. It's designed with a more affordable price to try to appeal to more buyers. It will also feature a blood oxygen monitor. This is, of course, important during the pandemic, where oxygen levels are one of the closely monitored vitals when diagnosing the coronavirus. While this is not a way to diagnose a medical problem, it could trigger early warnings of problems. So we have to bring in our resident techie, Eric Chilton. I know you're not the biggest Apple fan, but you did have your eye on some of the products.
I do. I respect them. I respect they do great work, right? I like to tinker, and you can't tinker as much with Apple products. I will say this, that the oxygen level indicator, which I know can be done with a lot of smartphones, but to put that in the watch and then have that kind of be a monitor for someone, that's really ingenious to do, especially right now with everything going on. It's one of the key indicators.
I absolutely agree. I have an Apple Watch, and it does already do heart rate and a couple of different vitals, but that blood oxygen level has been a big talker, something I didn't think about until we started hearing about it during the pandemic.
It makes sense.
We are still keeping a close eye on COVID-19 numbers in our state. For the third straight day, the numbers look promising. Today, 1,137 new 1,137 new confirmed cases were reported. That brings our statewide total to more than 188,000. Right now, at least 918 COVID patients are in the hospital statewide, with 96% of hospitals reporting. Looking at county averages of tests coming back positive, Guilford County's percent positive is 5.1%. Forsyth County's is 3.8%, and Alamance County is 5.5%. But Rockingham County is up there, 8.5%. Remember, health leaders want that number near 5% as we keep reopening. Recovery stories are also giving us hope as this pandemic continues. For one Charlotte nurse, her recovery took months, but now she is home and she celebrated that return home in such a joyful fashion. So our sister station in Charlotte was there for her homecoming. Take a look.
Greeted by family, friends, co-workers, and even a parade led by the Pineville Fire Department. Kathy Alford is finally going home.
It's like the best thing. They've been there for me and my family's been there for me. So without them, I couldn't have gone through this.
After catching COVID-19 in July and coming down with serious symptoms, the veteran nurse just faced and conquered a major fight in her life. Her hospital stay over the last several weeks, including trial drugs, plasma exchange, and lots of time on a ventilator.
It's been definitely a lot of prayers, I know, and that's what's gotten me through this.
While it's not known how Alford first got ill, we do know she was more likely to see complications from the virus. Friends tell us 2 years ago she received a kidney transplant, a factor placing her in that high-risk category. And yet, she kept on with her frontline work, determined to continue delivering babies.
She's gone through a lot of stuff, and she's a fighter. She is one strong little lady.
So now, after weeks of FaceTime and phone calls, finally a real face-to-face. And for Alford, catching up on lost family time.
And I'm looking forward to being with my kids and my family and just getting stronger.
So how is this for icing on the cake? Her community didn't want her to struggle with hospital bills. As you can imagine, they've been racking up. She was in there for a long time. So they've been fundraising, and so far they've raised $12,000 for her.
Well, with the news that Guilford County students might return to the classroom as early as next month, I know parents, you have questions out there. Well, we are taking them directly to Guilford County school leaders. That's happening tonight at 5:30. We want you to text those questions you have right now. Now, this is not a call, text. Do not call this number. Text it, 336-379-5775. That's 336-379-5775. We'll start getting those answers for you at 5:30. More of the 4 to 5 is straight ahead. You know, this time of the year, you blink your eyes and all of a sudden we go from mid 80s down to low 70s. Look at this 7-day forecast. And in the short term, of course, the rain's the biggest issue. So heading into tomorrow, we're not seeing much of it tonight, but tomorrow you could see a couple of scattered showers in the morning. But when we get to 2 p.m. afternoon and Thursday till about 2 a.m. Friday morning, we could see as much as 3 to 6 inches of rain across the area. There will be flooding with that as well. Highs will be around 70. We think we'll start to clear out second half of the day Friday. It might be a little breezy on the backside of that system, but Saturday, Sunday, this is a cool fall weekend. Look at those lows at 50 and 49. That'll be for Sunday morning and Monday morning, with highs only in the mid 60s Saturday, Sunday, upper 60s with sunshine Monday, Tuesday. Beautiful week next week, at least through the halfway point. Wednesday, we look at sunshine and a high of 74 degrees. So with those lows dipping down into the 40s this weekend, makes you think about fall, doesn't it? So I thought, let's ask everybody on my Facebook page, what's your favorite thing about fall? A lot of you are in agreement here. We'll start with Alyssa. She said the colors, the crisp air, and knowing that the holidays are right around the corner. It's my favorite time of the year. Penny says cool mornings and warm days, and of course, awesome colors. Everybody's in agreement. I told you. Francine says cool, fresh air. It makes gardening, walking, and hiking easier on the lungs. Very true. Tara says hoodies, jeans, and the changing leaves. Don't forget the smell of the crisp air. There is a fall smell, isn't there? They need to bottle that. Could be a cologne or a perfume. Bobby says going to the mountains and looking at the beautiful scenery when the leaves are at their peak color-wise. And Rhonda says the colors, cooler weather, coffee brewing. I could go on, and I think we all could with that. There is that crisp kind of fall smell, you know, but when we get into about late September, early October.
Chilton, you know that they make fall scented candles, right?
I was going to say that too.
Why can't we do that?
We do that.
No, but I'm afraid
it's
that
a thing.
What it is the
Go
smell
to the store.
It's the smell. It's the smell of rotting leaves. That's what it really is.
What?
That's what the smell of fall is. It's the leaves on the ground. So really, you're buying a rotten leaf candle. Have at it.
But you're talking bad about it. You say, oh, you want a rotten leaf candle, but you just said you wanted a cologne. So I'm so confused.
Some people may like that. I
Let's
said you could make a cologne. I didn't say
disagree.
I'd buy it.
Taisha, help.
I'm at a loss for words because where do you go from there? You know what? Here's what I love about the fall. When you can go outside and you don't instantly start sweating. That's what I enjoy about the fall. And I'm really excited. My mom's going to be in town when the leaves start to change. I want to drive up to the Blue Ridge Parkway and just take a drive. It's going to be great.
I'm tickled about all of this. I think the leaves are beautiful. Fall is definitely one of my favorite seasons, especially in North Carolina, because it's not too cold yet. You can still go out and enjoy the crispiness in the air, and then the fall leaves, of course. Going to miss out on some of those big fall festivals and events that we do in North Carolina, but they'll be back next year.
Yeah, and speaking of those traditions that you're talking about, Maddie, things are going to look a little bit differently this year because of the pandemic. And as you're planning those activities, North Carolina state health leaders actually put out some guidelines for some of your favorite fall activities. So, of course, the goal is for COVID-19 to remain low in terms of spreading it around the community while people can also get out and have some fun. So there are guidelines that are specific to phase 2.5 that'll stay in place until at least October. Indoor haunted houses are not supposed to open, but corn mazes can operate if they can limit people gathering in large groups while there. For the full list of guidelines, just head over to WFMYnews2.com. Stay with us. More of your 4 to 5 when we come back.
Leah couldn't keep up with the stressful demands of remote learning with 3 kids.
I found it really challenging to go from physics.
Great job. What's that bear doing?
A bear.
Panther.
That's Sir Purr.
Who?
Sir Purr.
How you say that?
Sir Purr.
Sir Purr. Oh, Sir Purr. Wow. You call him that?
Yeah, that's his name.
So you be like, what's up, Sir Purr?
Hi there. What is that? You call him that? What's his name, Sir Per?
So, we talk about weather in every single newscast. It is very important, but do we know a lot about solar weather? Don't think we think about that. It's also important to our lives, especially when the sun isn't behaving. I spoke with a NASA scientist, and I've been practicing this name since about 10 a.m. Lika Guhathakurta. Phew, it's over. About what to expect with our solar flares in the future. Lika, thanks so much for taking time out today. This is fascinating to me. Explain exactly to most of us who don't understand this, what is a solar cycle?
The sun has a heartbeat, like we do. It's called the solar cycle, and it beats once every 11 years or so, but it doesn't stop completely. You can also think of it like a pendulum swinging, going from one extreme to another. And that's why we are talking about this solar cycle. And what happens during solar minimum to maximum is the sun gradually gets peppered with dark spots that we call sunspot. Today, if you looked at the sun in visible light, there are no spots because we are just coming out of solar minimum. But as we move up into solar max, sun is going to be peppered with these dark spots, which have intense magnetic field. And these regions will often produce, solar storms, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, all kinds of other transient events. And so that's what we mean by solar cycle.
So if we were to see a solar flare, what does that do to our technology?
Impact to technology can be from mild to very severe. In fact, we could use sort of similar terminologies that we use for predicting Earth weather. And in fact, NOAA does that in that sense, going from grades of 1 to 5, and they have red, green, yellow. Anything that has an on-off switch is vulnerable to space weather. And that is kind of down here on Earth, where we are actually utilizing a lot of this power grid. Transformers can get borne out and power can go out. That actually happened in 1989 in New York and in Quebec.
Lika, great information. Thank you so much. Thank goodness there are smart people like you in the world to keep us informed. Yes, we had to do that interview through a Zoom interface, and I joked with her as soon as we were wrapping up. I said that virtual background you had behind her was actually real. It's intelligence emanating from her head. The woman is super smart. She says that we have to watch out between 2020 and 2025. We could see a number of fairly strong solar flares.
All right, now on to a story that you don't want to miss. We know the Panthers have a lot of new players on the roster this year. So check out the moment wide receiver Robbie Anderson was introduced to the team's mascot, Sir Per, for the first time.
Great job. What's that bear doing?
Like a bear.
Panther.
That's Sir Per, bro.
Who?
Sir Per.
How you say that?
Sir Per.
Sir Per. Oh, Sir Per. Wow. You call him that?
Yeah, that's his name.
So you be like, what's up, Sir Per?
Easy to get. But there you go. Well, I mean, Nothing like an introduction like that, huh?
What's that bear doing?
What's that bear up to? The best line of the year.
I've watched this video at least 30 times today, and I still cry laughing from this.
I was trying to hear, what did he say? Did he say the name backwards, or did he get it wrong?
He was mic'd up, right? So, you know, from time to time, they mic the players up, and he's just sitting on the bench and sees Sir Purr in the stands, and he says, you know, someone says, oh, it's Sir Purr, and he said, you call him that. You call him Sir Purr. Like, when you see him, you say, what's up, Sir Purr? And they're like, that's his name.
Oh, what's
line
that
of the
bear
day?
up to?
What's
oh my gosh.
that bear doing?
That is the
so
line of the day. I'm going to say that every time I see Sir Purr now. 63 degrees for us tonight, folks, and the clouds will build in with morning showers. Heavy rain tomorrow. Now, the chance of flooding, yes, that is possible. In fact, 3 to 6 inches of rain between Thursday at 2 p.m. and Friday at 2 a.m. Friday will clear second half of the day. Cold weekend coming up, folks. A little breezy, too. Sunshine Saturday, Sunday. Highs in the mid-60s. We'll have some lows in the upper 40s.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing about that bear comment stuff. All right, still ahead on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. The High Point Furniture Market will kick off in about a month, and it will look a lot different. Organizers got a taste of what to expect after wrapping up pre-market. We dig into the safety precautions and what was learned to prepare for the main event. That's coming up at 5.
Hello, mic check. Trying to get my stand goal in here. So I got to stand before 5 o'clock. Mic check.
Hello, mic check. Hello, hello, hello. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What's that bear doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2.
Hi there, Great Wolf Lodge. Not a bear, not a wolf. It is a cat. 1, 2, 3 for 5. 1, 2, 3.
It's time for my 2 cents. If you've been to a grocery store, watched a commercial, or scrolled on social media, you know apparently it's time for pumpkin spice. Now, my co-anchor Maddie Gardner says we should let the pumpkin spice lovers do their thing. They aren't bothering us, but yet they get so much hate for their preference. Personally, I think it's overdone. I went to a grocery store the other day and it was so in my face. From the various pumpkins as soon as you walk in to the pumpkin items on the end cap, there was even a corner of the store that was all pumpkin items, like pumpkin tortilla chips. Really? But that's all I'll say about it. I won't think less of you if you manage to incorporate pumpkin spice in every meal. All I know is I want to see that same energy when it's time for Christmas. If we're going to let all the pumpkin spice lovers take over for the time being, then I don't want to hear anything when peppermint mocha or just plain peppermint fill store shelves. I don't want to hear that it's gross. I don't want to hear that mint and chocolate don't go together. If we're supposed to let the pumpkin spice lovers live their best lives, then peppermint mocha lovers deserve that same respect. Form your own opinion. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Wow, this hurricane is no joke.
Hurricane Sally remains a powerful, slow-moving storm on Dauphin Island, Alabama. The storm shredded an RV and ripped the wall off this building.
Take a look at this drone video from Gulf Shores, Alabama, where the storm's eye crossed over. Sides of buildings were torn off while others are underwater.
Now, what's left of Sally is making its way over here to North Carolina, bringing with it a whole lot of rain.
Our chief meteorologist, Tim Buckley, joins us live now. He's been watching the radar closely. Tim, we could get a significant amount of rain from this system.
For sure. I'm concerned about a large amount of rain over a short amount of time, and that's usually a recipe for some flash flooding issues. Here's the latest on Sally. It is now a tropical storm. We're not so much concerned about the wind. The winds have weakened to 60 miles per hour. Earlier today, they were around 100, and they should not be a major factor as the storm comes closer to us. But here's the path. The center of the storm, at least, should be passing to our south, but most of the rain and the clouds, we're already seeing clouds increasing. That's on the northern side of the system. So here's your radar